I have to talk about King the Land and episode 16 and it being absolute rom-com perfection. Hi, I'm Monique. I am the host of Off by Purple Heart, where I talk about K-dramas and BTS and basically whatever else I want to talk about. But today I just finished watching King the Land, episode 16, and it is absolute perfection. It's exactly how you do a series finale. And I don't even know where to start. I haven't scripted this. I literally just finished watching this episode. And I guess I just want to talk about the series as a whole, along with episode 16. So I will say King the Land is not perfect by any stretch of the means. There was definitely some things that I wouldn't say disliked, but thought could have been done a little bit better. There's definitely some missteps. And I don't know if it necessarily needed 16 episodes, which sounds like a really weird complaint considering that I really enjoyed episode 16. I think it was perfect. I think it could have resolved itself really nicely in 12 or 14 episodes. But I'm not going to complain too heavy about that because I have to say one of the things that really rang true to me is just how important chemistry is when you're dealing with romance. Outside of casting actors for their looks, their talent, of course you want actors that are talented, that have a wide range of control and how they are able to portray emotions, especially for like heavier dramatic settings. You want a multi-layered actor, of course, and talent is really important. Of course, set design is really important, scoring, music, even your secondary, tertiary characters and how you cast them are important as well. All that is well and good, as well as good writing, but you need actors that have chemistry, that actually make you believe that the romance is actually happening. And this show has it in spades. But let me just get over what I didn't like first so I can get the negative out the way so I can focus on the positive, because there's so many positives to talk about. I guess a couple of things, other than I thinking that the show kind of went on for too long. I think 16 episodes was a bit much because I felt like the show kind of lost its steam a little bit after like episode 6 or 7, and it kind of meandered for a little bit as well. I think that could have been a little bit tighter. One of the big missteps, I think one of the missteps with this show as well, which was a big misstep, was their portrayal of the prince, which is really unfortunate, but it was culturally insensitive in a lot of ways, and I understand that the production and the channel itself made an apology, a formal apology for their portrayal of the prince. But it's unfortunate because I actually really liked the prince. I thought he was really funny and engaging, and it's a shame that because there was like a lack of research in that area, that it kind of overshadowed what could have been a really cute storyline with the prince and Guwon in particular, because I liked that their banter was great. And it's a shame that even like the actors themselves received a lot of negativity for that. I think the sister was also a misstep as far as antagonist. For a show as fluffy as this one, it absolutely needed an antagonist. Don't get me wrong. But I feel like they made her be villainous for too long. And while we did get a little bit of resolution, mind you, this is going to get into spoilers, which you should know because I'm talking about episode 16, right? The resolution in the end was really subtle. I didn't expect her to open Guwon with like open arms and to be lovey-dovey towards him, and for them to just basically function as brother and sister normally after everything that was said and done between the two of them. But it just kind of felt really anticlimactic, and the way she treated her son in particular, and only for her to have like that change of heart in those like the 11th hour, you know, with her son being shipped off and her changing her mind and grabbing his hand and taking away from the airport. I appreciated that they end up redeeming the sister character a little bit, but there's just something about that portrayal. So there was some negatives, but let me get into the positive. First and foremost, chemistry, like I was talking about earlier. They did such a wonderful thing in casting Junho and Yuna as the leads. Sarang and Guan were just phenomenal as partners. I believe the romance from beginning to end, and episode 16 really put that chemistry to the test. And I love that this episode 16 didn't rely on like miscommunication tropes or some type of stupid plot that would drive them apart for any longer. And it was just a minor quibble, and the two of them talked to each other like adults, and Guan made sure to talk to Sarang and say, hey, what's going on? What do you mean by you're leaving? And her just explaining, you know, I want to pursue my dreams. I want to open my own hotel, like Hotel Amour. And I love that they just handled it like adults, because I feel like with a lot of rom-coms, there's like a tonal shift, and some point there's like this weird like murder plot at some point, or like some criminal espionage, or some form of just some dark, mysterious, gritty subplot that kind of just casts a dark shadow over everything, and it just kind of derails from the main romance, because this is a romantic comedy, and it really stayed true to form in that in episode 16, which I really liked. It was refreshing. Like the adults actually talked to one another and understood one another, and the romance was just so good. Just the subtle touches. I know Yuna and Junho, they have history, right? They've known each other for many years, and their friendship really bleeds through in this show. I know there's rumors of other things, but I'm just going to look at it as a basis of their friendship just shows in how comfortable they are, even with like the non-verbal cues and touching. There's just so many scenes where it just takes your breath away. I just think of like the first major kiss that we saw on screen, and just how electrifying that was. And I know one of the big subplots in the show was the character Guan having a hard time with seeing people with fake smiles because of the trauma of his childhood, and just how much his smile evolved over time in the show, and just the way he would look at her with stars in his eyes. It was just, oh, it was just chef kiss. It was perfect. And episode 16, you know, like all the little funny bits, you know, them overlooking the ocean together at, you know, the new bed and breakfast, or the new hotel that was her pet project for her independence. I think as a character, she was phenomenal. She had her own dreams. She had her own moral code, and I loved that throughout the entirety of the show. Her positivity was the attracting quality to her, like just her genuine compassion for people, the pride that she took in her work, and wanting to impart joy to others was really moving and emotional. I love the character connections as well. I mean, her friends as they're just wonderful to see. I love that one of her friends, the flight attendant, and her romance, that was also really moving as well. And I cheered when her and her junior got together, and as they were driving and he tells her, yeah, we're going to see my mom, and she's like kind of freaking out, like, what do you mean? I don't even have my makeup done, my hair. Oh, I can't meet your mom like this. And then only to find out, you know, they're visiting the mom's gravesite, and I just started tearing up. You know, it's just so emotional, and I was just beside myself, and then the tears just kept coming. There was a scene with Sarang's Harmony, her grandma, and you know, she gave Guan like a hard time, but you knew that she was softening up towards him with every episode. And just to see, as he asked formally for permission to marry her, And she's like, yes. And she just starts breaking down crying because she knows that he's such the perfect match for her little girl. And it's just the emotions of it, even dressing her up in the crown and giving her a little specter and just the dinner. It was just wonderful. It's just seeing her with the little scepter and her earrings and the little tiara. And the actress that plays the grandmother did a phenomenal job as well. She does. Yeah, so my battery overheated, so I couldn't finish off my thoughts. But I'm going to keep it really quick. For the remainder of King the Land, I just think it had the perfect resolution. The wedding was really romantic, and just the way that he looked at her as she walked down the aisle. Oh my God. Like, it just takes your breath away. And there's like some behind the scenes clips um, of the wedding scene as well. That's really adorable. But I wish I had more of it. To me, episode 16 was like perfection in rom-com form. It makes up for everything that I complained about earlier in the video. I just really loved it, enjoyed it, and God, I hope that they get those two to star another romantic comedy together, because their chemistry is just absolutely magical. It's like golden lightning in a bottle, and it's just absolute perfection. And I just want more of that in my rom-coms, okay? So that's my video. Thank you for listening via Spotify. If you're on Spotify, if you're watching through YouTube, I appreciate that as well. Give me a thumbs up if you like the video. If you have any thoughts about King the Land in general or episode 16, let me know in the comments. I appreciate that. Until the next video, peace.